rise like the water. Turn this system round. In the voice of a great-granddaughter, climate justice now. People gonna rise like water. Turn this system round. In the voice of climate justice now. Power, tell me can by the hour, stronger by the hour. Power, power, people, 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 power, power. People got the power.
People got the power.
Tell me can you hear us?
Tell me can you hear us?
Stronger by the hour.
Stronger by the hour.
Power,
Power.
people,
People.
people,
People.
power,
Power.
people got the power.
People got the power.
Tell me can you hear us?
Tell me can you hear us?
Stronger by the hour.
Stronger by the hour.
Power,
Power.
people,
People.
people,
People.
power,
Power.
people got the power.
People got the power.
Tell me can you hear us?
Tell me can you hear us?
Stronger by the hour.
Stronger by the hour.
Power,
Power.
people,
People.
people,
People.
power,
Power.
people gonna rise like the water. Turn this system round. In the voice of the great-granddaughter, climate justice now. People gonna rise like water. Turn this system round. In the voice of the great-granddaughter, climate justice now. People got the power. People got the power. Tell me, can you hear us?
Tell me can you hear us?
Stronger by the hour.
Stronger by the hour.
Power.
Power.
People.
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 Power.
Power.
Shell executives, who are? I want to know how you see that thing. Shell executives, who are? I want to know how you sleep at night. Shell executives, who are? I want to know how you sleep at night.
We need to wake up. We need to wake up. We need to open our eyes and
No, no,
we need to start right now. We're on a planet that has a problem. We've got to solve it, get involved and do it now. We've got a better future, and we need to start right now. Make it greener, make it cleaner, make it last, make it fast, and do it now. We need to build a better future, and we need to start right now. No point in waiting or hesitating. We must get wise, take no more lies, and do it now. We need to build a better future, and we need to start right now. Is it your song, Gary? No shell, no shell, no shell, no shell. Don't make the planet into a living hell. No shell, no shell, no shall, no shall. Don't think that we can stop because we can. I could easily understand how you would want to drill our land, but you don't know what it means to us, no shall. It really is beyond compare from the man for all to share, but you don't know what it means to us, no shall. No shall, no shall, no shall, no shall. Don't make the fire into a living hell. No shall, no shall, no shall, no shall. Don't think we can stop us cause we can. The CO2 is on the rise, you're standing there in mock surprise. We have to keep it in the ground, no shall. Planet is our only home, no planet. We're sort of doing it in two stages. We're highlighting the atrocities that Shell have done over the last 40 years and causing the climate crisis, and then we're highlighting the greenwashing that they've just recently been exposed in the last couple of weeks, where their AGM and they're clawing back all their climate targets and things.
So can you explain the meaning behind the green bath and the greenwashing machine?
Yeah, this is a bloodbath as such, and this is, we have 6 T-shirts that have the sort of main, highlighting the main atrocities that they've caused over the last 40 years, as I said, like selling Russian oil cheap when there was embargoes and things like that. So we're highlighting the Aberdeen tribe in Nigeria and the Niger Delta, where they've polluted the lands and virtually just left it to the inhabitants with no fishing, no agriculture. They just purely taken profit and left the people behind. So we're highlighting that, and then the washing machine, we bring out green T-shirts where they've greenwashed these atrocities, and how they've clawed back their target just a couple of weeks ago, where it was at 20% the emissions were going to be reduced to by 2030, and now it's gone only 15% now. They've done away with their emissions targets for 2035. There's a report just come out last week saying that we actually don't need any new oil to meet the 1.5 degrees and our energy requirements for the next 2050. So there's no need to actually be looking for new oil and gas sites. So that's why we're here today.
Are you hoping that they will listen to you by protesting today?
I certainly hope so. Certainly at their AGM a couple of weeks ago, at least a fifth of the shareholders wanted Shell to improve their targets and everything like that, but the CEO and the management advised the shareholders not to do that because it wasn't profitable for them. So that's why they reduced their targets. But yeah, at least a fifth of the shareholders wanted to do that. So if we can make that open to the public, and maybe more and more people will get behind them.
And have there been workers trying to come in and out this morning?
Yes, we are actually. The reason we're actually at the front door here is it's not really to block but we have this leaflet for the workers to explain why we want them to try and transition There's a report just come out just in the last couple of weeks, Our Power, which is a report that has 5 demands, and it's been put together with the Unite trade union and other organisations. So they're all signed up to this to try and get a fair, just transition for workers, rather than leaving it as the governments do, leaving it in the hands of the fossil fuel companies. It's not in their interest to move workers away to renewable energy when they need them to try and further their ends. So it needs to be actually done by the government rather than companies like Shell.
And have you had any of the security come out and speak to you, or?
No, they've just really locked the doors so we don't escalate and do anything else. So they're advising people to just go around the back.
And is there a certain amount of time that you guys hope to be here for today, or?
Yeah, it will probably be here till midday or something like that, just to catch the workers going in and coming out at lunchtime. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add on there?
I don't think so. I don't miss anything.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Thank
Thanks,
you.
thanks.
Yes, I'll take one of those as well. Perfect. Thank you so much. Cheers to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John? Oh yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. Yes. Yeah. Well, start with yeah. Let's work for a better day. Let us love like we've never loved before. Sisters and brothers all together. Let us stand. So let us stand as we face the coming storm. Let this fight. Let's fight for a better dawn. Let us love like we've never loved before. Sisters and brothers, all together, let us stand.
I got the entirety of your interview on the live stream.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
It should be okay quality because this mic's not too bad in this condition.
Right.
So we should be okay as well. You'll have a current record of the full non-edited.
Right, right, that's great.
You're welcome. That's why I was creepily crouched down.
All right.
I keep taking up too much of this bath.
Now you're fine.
Well, I've got the overflow in the bath here. Right in my kidneys. No, it's
We've got a comment on the chat. Looks cold. Is it cold?
no, it's quite a cosy blanket, yeah. Greenwash blanket.
Yeah.
How are you feeling today? The chat says it's cold. Is it cold for you?
Yeah, a bit cold. Push on the fingers.
Those are good beats, huh?
I think it was a good thing. Encouraging us to really. Otherwise,
I'm about to keep warming them up. I need to show on occasion.
No more killing, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more killing, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more killing, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. People gonna rise like the water. Turn this system round. In the voice of the great granddaughter. Climate justice now. People gonna rise like the water. Turn this system round. In the voice of the great granddaughter. Climate justice now. People got the power. People got the power. Tell me, can you hear us? Tell me, can you hear us? Getting stronger by the hour. Getting stronger by the hour. Power, power. People, 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 people. Power, power. People got the power. People got the power. Tell me, can you hear us? Tell me, can you hear us? Getting stronger by the hour. Getting stronger by the hour. Power, power. People, 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 people. Power, power. Power to the people. Power to the people. Tell me, can you hear us? Tell me, can you hear us? Getting stronger by the hour. Getting stronger by the hour. Power, power. People, 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 people. Power, What do you want?
Just policeman.
Haven't even had a coffee yet.
What do we want?
Now!
What do we want?
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Power to the people.
Power to the people.
What the power?
People got the power!
People love the baby.
Too much fun. Stop it.
Power.
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 Power!
People.
People!
People got the power.
People got the power!
Tell me, can you hear us?
Tell me, can you hear us?
Getting stronger by the hour.
Getting stronger by the hour.
Power.
Power!
People.
People!
People.
People!
Power.
Power!
People got the power.
People got the power!
Tell me, can you hear us?
Tell me, can you hear us?
Stronger by the hour.
Stronger by the hour.
Power.
Power!
People.
People!
People.
People!
Power.
Power!
People got to rise like the water. Turn this system round. Take the voice of the great grandfather. Find this justice now. People gonna rise like the water. Turn this justice now. Take the voice of the great granddaughter. Find this justice now. People gonna rise like the water. Turn this system around. In the voice of my great granddaughter, climate justice now.
Come on, son. Come on, son.
Almost now.
You better come.
Yeah, I know.
At least it's not due to rain.
No.
I'm jinxed it now.
I might as well give them back now. Pliers.
It's got a bit burgundy sometimes. It's what? Got a bit burgundy sometimes.
Yeah, it's really showing its age now.
Wendy left us on Facebook. Well done. Keep warm. Maybe a supporter could find hot water balls and hot drinks. Kisses, love, and Elendar. I love and respect, I think, is what that boy stands for.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. We are seeing your comments here, so feel free to keep sending them.
All right.
I'll read them out to the kind people in the tub.
Are all the t-shirts up in the washing line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like something's gone up in the line. Washable t-shirts. Like that. I've got. Anybody want any extra clothing?
No.
It's not audible. Could be.
Damn it. Christmassy with all the babies.
It's working the other day. Is that it back?
Are you okay?
No, I've got something.
Testing. Yeah, it's working. It's working. Okay, it's been weird the whole stream. Okay. Hello? Yeah, it's working. Okay, that's weird.
You've got out of the bath now. Oh, Pardon? Pardon?
Well done. And it's 2 seconds. Good luck.
Is there an itinerary for the rest of the evening?
Next thing is that the rebels are coming actually at 9:30. I was on the thought we're doing the greenwashing skit,
Okay.
and the speakers at 11. So it goes on. At the moment, we see one of them behind. Okay.
Want a bit of singing then?
Indeed.
Through the rains.
Has there been anything from the Red Rebels saying that they're
The
okay?
last message I got was Is that what time it is now?
It is 8 minutes past 9.
So most of the staff will be in then. It feels much quieter.
I know, it's surprisingly, well, it's sweet for a mainstream Aberdeen.
I hear some police. No more killing, no more oil.
Keep the carbon in the soil. No more killing, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more killing, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more killing, no more oil.
Keep carbon in the soil.
No more killing, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. People got the power. Tell me, can you hear?
Hi guys. So, he's asking, how long do you want to stay for?
Weeks.
Weeks. So I don't tell them the truth.
Until Shell come and talk to us about the demands.
Yes. Yeah, make that.
I've actually spoken to them.
Have we spoken to anyone in there? No, not even security.
You could phone them.
Oh, we could phone them. Let's all phone
Let's all
Shell.
phone. The number is 01224 88 2000. Phone now. You get the phone ringing inside.
Oh, 1-224-88-2000.
There's a wee song there.
It's the police that showed up there. Sound not okay. We'll try just unplugging it then, doing it using the input mix. If it's not Facebook. Switch back. Alright, we'll try that. Bit of a tantrum. I don't know why it's having a tantrum. Common. I don't know why it's having a tantrum today. It's so stupid. But anyway, we're rebalanced the gimbal. Don't know why it's doing that. It's really weird. Sorry for that, everybody. At least it do. Now this is wobbly. Oh. It's just Facebook stupid app. With 2 seconds. I'm not sure why you can't stop it. Stop wobbling. Back in a second. He's going to be right today. Come on, don't do this to me. There we go. That's in there, come on. So why are we here today? I might as well update the live stream.
It's in 2 parts of the the highlight shows construction over the last 40 years. There's sort of various things that have been doing, like Russian oil, selling it when it was embargoed and making huge profits off it. To the Agoni 9 that were shares complicit in the murders of the Agoni 9, and through the and the washing machine for the greenwashing, and they have a greenwashing line up there with mixing the nature elements of the greenwashing over there. But they just low carbon division by 200 staff and their budget by 8.8% next year.
Right.
So they've no intention of sort of doing what we said they were going to do.
No, it's not your fault. They're saying they can't hear anything on the screen, and I don't know why it's having a tantrum. We're going to rejig the audio. I've got a backup audio thing in my bag. It's annoying because Facebook is working fine with the other mic the other day.
Yeah. Do they know that?
Why is my six?
Stronger by the hour. Power! People! Power! Power!
Testing, testing.
No more killing, no more oil. Keep the carbon in No shell, right, number 6.
No more drilling! No more oil! Keep the carbon in the soil! No more drilling! No more oil! Keep the carbon in the soil! No more drilling! No more oil! Keep the carbon in the soil! No more drilling! No more oil! Keep the carbon in the soil! No more drilling! No more oil! Keep the carbon in the soil! No more drilling! No more oil! Keep the carbon in the soil!
No shell, no shell, no shell.
We don't need new oil and gas. We demand use of new oil. Shell, leave the oil alone. Shell, leave big oil alone. Hard work.
No shell, no shell, to make the religion stop again. No shell, no shell, no shell, no shell. Don't think that we can stop you, 'cause we can. CO2 is on the rise, we're standing in no surprise. We keep it in the ground, no shell. This planet is our only home, no planet B, we're all alone. We have to keep it in the ground, no shell. No shell, no shell, no shell, no shell. Don't make the planet into a canal. No shell, no shell, no shell, no shell. Don't think that we can stop because we can. No shell, no shell, no shell. Don't make the planet into a living hell. No shell, no shell, no shell, no shell. Don't think that we can stop because we can. Let us stand in, John.
Stand.
Let us stand.
Stand.
No, let us stand.
Oh, let us stand. Yes.
Let us stand as we face the coming storm.
Why is it not?
And let us love like we've never loved before.
Sorry, Gary. You fall asleep. Sorry, Gary. So you like one last week? How are you doing? Oh, sorry. How was it this morning?
Like we've never loved before. Sisters are right, all together.
Sounds like we're fine. Yeah. Have you come back from international base usually, or
Yeah, well, I'm actually a bit further up. You sort of get lucky there. But we're for
Are
all.
you recording my interview?
Sorry, it's live. Is that okay?
I prefer
can't
if I wasn't in it.
You're not physically in it.
I don't want my questions in it either for the.
Okay,
I
well,
can't
I'll
do
leave
that.
you then.
It's,
But I will.
my contract doesn't let me do.
Apologies. I will get out of your way.
Thank you.
shirt, sir. Would you like to say anything to the live stream about the reason you're here today?
Yeah. Yes, I'm just here today because we've known for years and years, and so has Shell, that if we carry on burning fossil fuels, we're going to endanger life on Earth, not only ourselves but all the other living creatures on the planet. So I'm just standing here to say we must tell the truth about it, because the solutions that are being put forward are not enough on their own. Things like carbon capture and storage, carbon offsets, they're just not enough to make up for all the damage that we've done and that we're still doing. So we need to be more truthful and face up to these things. So that's what I'm here to represent.
Would you like to tell everyone why you're here today?
To protest against Shell because they're wrecking the world. They don't look after the climate. They keep burning oil, and that's just not good. So that's why we're here.
Thank you. Should be working. Did everyone pick that up? Would you like to tell everyone on the stream why you're here today?
Yep, thank you. I'm here because we're making a statement. We need to try and break the deadlock between knowing we've got to make huge changes but not being able to start making the changes. So that's why I'm here, because we desperately need to start making changes, and we need these big oil companies to start planning serious change in their businesses.
Would you like to tell everyone why you're here today?
I'm here today because Shell is taking us into climate breakdown. You know, we've got enough oil at the moment, and if we go for new oil and gas, things are going to get unlivable, for especially people in the global south. But Shell were taken to court in The Hague in 2021, and they won, and Shell was told to reduce their emissions by 45% of the emissions of 2019. But they're appealing this decision, and while that ruling was they're waiting, they have declared they're opening hundreds of more oil sites around the world. So we have to do all we can to stop the oil companies from taking us to climate chaos. That'll do.
Thank you. Would you like to tell everyone on the stream why you're here today? No? Okay. Would you like to tell everyone on the screen why you're here today? No? Would you like to tell the live stream why you're here today? You don't have to if you don't want to. No.
Shell, hell on earth. It's certainly causing hell on earth. Well, something's happening now.
I said about the demands.
What's in the washing machine? Well, I guess I think there's a thing later that's meant to maybe involve it. Oh, this is falling down.
Would you like to tell the live stream a bit about what you were telling STV News there?
Yes, we've just been filmed by STV News, which hopefully I'll be shown at lunchtime or the evening slot at 6 o'clock. And they were just asking why we're here, and I was telling them that this is the bloodbath and this is the washing machine. The bloodbath is about Shell's atrocities over the last 40 years, and they've known since 1981 that their burning of fossil fuel was causing global catastrophes, and then also highlighting their atrocities in Nigeria with the Agodi 9 executions that Shell are complicit in. And also how they were selling Russian oil when it was embargoed, cheap Russian oil, and making a fortune off that. And then also there are more recent things where they've broke all their pledges, so is exposing their greenwashing. That's depicted in the washing line and the washing machine there. Things like their pledge, which was to reduce their emissions by 20% by 2030. They've reneged on that, and they've actually scrapped their target for 2035, and they're forecasted to actually increase their oil and gas by, I think it's 3% by 2030, and they've reduced their staff at the low emissions division by 200 employees, and their budget's reduced by 8% as well. So they have no intentions of reducing their emissions or their output in oil or gas. So it was to try and flag that up to the public, and hopefully STV will show that on the TV tonight to help us get that message across.
Thank you.
Oh, here the Red Rebels are just coming up the road.
We are being joined by the Red Rebels. I'm not familiar with their group personally, but it's nice to have more support. Where'd they go? Sorry, I'm in your way. either of you like to talk a bit about the Red Rebels? Because I'm sure a lot of people are unfamiliar with their movement. Are you good to talk to about that, or? No, they're still going up the street. They're going corner. Big loud voices for it, by the way.
Let's do the
Skid.
skit. Robbie, your time is up.
Stay tuned, we have some performance art coming up. going to be attempting to wash Shell's dirty laundry soon.
Across the road. A bit noisy.
Oh, so they are.
Russian, Niger, profits. Agoni. And then other way. New oil.
This is the Red Rebels now coming in. Again.
Shell is the world's largest oil and gas multinational, Europe's largest. Shell is keen to promote that it is powering progress, but Shell is obstructing progress and powering us into climate chaos. We are highlighting the atrocities that Shell has been inflicting for decades on the world. It is no exaggeration that along with the other oil companies, Shell is leading us into increasing and unprecedented and worldwide climate breakdown, a true hell on earth. Antonio Guterres, head of the UN, likened our situation way back in 2022 when he said, "We are on a highway to climate hell with our foot still on the accelerator." His speech that day started, "The clock is ticking. We are in the fight of our lives and we are losing. Greenhouse gas emissions keep growing. Global temperatures keep rising and our planet is fast approaching tipping points that will make climate chaos irreversible. Shell is responsible, and although they knew 40 years ago that burning fossil fuels would cause planetary heating, the shocking thing is they appear to have no plan to stop drilling for oil, certainly not until they have made as much money as they can. They are clear that they intend to explore and develop new oil and gas projects all around the world, even though we have been warned that new oil and gas will lead to climate chaos. Shell profits from Russian oil. Despite the invasion and bombardment of Ukraine, Shell in 2022 bought a cargo of 100,000 metric tons of Russian crude oil that, I might add, was bought at bargain prices. They apologised for buying this Russian oil, saying that they had no alternative, that they were forced to buy from Russia in order to maintain supplies of fuel in Europe. Although Shell pledged to withdraw from the Russian energy market, it is still trading in Russian gas. And although it was suggested that Shell should share their profits from Russian oil and gas with Ukraine, there is as yet no commitment from them on this. Shell pollutes the Niger Delta. Shell has been drilling oil in Nigeria since the 1950s and has made billions and billions of pounds in profits over the decades. But as a result of thousands and thousands of oil spills, it has made the Niger Delta one of the most polluted places on earth. Many Niger Delta residents rely on farming and fishing as their sole source of food and income. Oil spills have ruined the water and the land. Nigerian environmentalists want Shell to clean up land and water ruined by oil spills and to pay compensation before it sells off its assets.
Sorry.
It is very important that Shell is made responsible for paying for the cleanup of the Niger Delta, but also must fund the decommissioning of the oil mining leases it has sold. Because the people of the Niger Delta felt they were unlikely to get justice in their courts, they brought their case against Shell to the UK. After many years of fighting, a High Court ruling last year agreed that thousands of Nigerian farmers can bring human rights claims against Shell over the chronic oil pollution of their water sources and destruction of their way of life. Shell puts profits before people. As extreme weather accelerates and the cost of living crisis rumbles on, Shell's latest billion-pound profits are an affront to the world. The grotesque wealth that this earth-wrecking company continues to accumulate is something we cannot allow ourselves to accept as normal. We urgently need to bring a fair and organised end to the fossil fuel era, and that means that companies like Shell must stop trying to extract new oil and gas and start paying what they owe for the loss and damage they have caused. Shell has reported better than forecast profits of £6.1 billion for the first 3 months of 2024, while families are struggling to make ends meet and families across Britain cannot afford to heat their homes. Struggling households shouldn't be lining the pockets of shareholders and fat cat CEOs. By the way, the Shell CEO, Wael Sawan, got £7.9 million for 2023, having become chief executive at the start of last year on an annual salary of £1.4 million. Shell spends 9 times more on shareholder benefits than on clean energy technology. Shareholder dividends increased by 15% last year, while spending on low carbon technologies reduced by 8.8%. Shell has blood on their hands. The Ogoni 9. The countless oil spills in the Niger Delta made many residents complain and protest that their land is polluted while they are left out of the economic benefits. Protests grew And in 1995, a group of 9 activists who have become known as the Agony 9 were arrested and tortured. They experienced sham trials in which witnesses were bribed. They were executed and their bodies discarded in an unmarked mass grave. Amnesty International has shown that Shell was complicit in these murders. The executions were the culmination of a brutal campaign by Nigeria's military to silence the protests. Shell repeatedly asked for the intervention of the Nigerian security forces to protect their infrastructure or to intervene to stop protests which were disrupting their operations. These militias were named by the local Ogoni people as the Kill and Go Squads. Shortly before this was brought to trial in 2009 in the US, Shell agreed to pay out $15.5 million, a settlement to some of the families of the murdered. Some of the widows of the murdered protesters brought charges to the Supreme Court in The Hague in 2022, but the court ruled there was not enough evidence to support the widows' assertion that Shell had bribed witnesses to give false testimony in the trial that led to the men's execution. Shell's new oil and gas expansion. We have been warned that by both the International Energy Agency and the International Panel on Climate Change that there is no room for new oil and gas projects if the world is to stay within safe limits of global heating. In 2021, Friends of the Earth Netherlands took Shell to court in The Hague and won. Shell was ordered to cut its absolute carbon emissions by 45% by 2030 compared to 2019 levels. This was a monumental victory for our planet, for our children, and a big leap towards a livable future for everyone. The judge left no room for doubt. Shell is causing dangerous climate change and must stop its destructive behaviour now. Shell is appealing this 2021 decision, saying that the ruling would force it to shrink its business and would lead customers to shift to other suppliers of fuel. Shell must not win this appeal. Like the previous judge, this next judge must stop Shell in its immoral madness. Shell has been killing the climate for 40 years. It is shocking that Shell knew in the 1970s of the damage fossil fuels caused to the climate. Some new unearthed files will help to strengthen the lawsuits aiming to hold Shell to account for climate damages. There is a 1970 industry journal where Shell appears to accept responsibility for harms caused by its products. Shell publications from the 1980s and 90s foresee the major adverse changes the greenhouse effect is liable to cause to the climate. Even as Shell's awareness of climate change grew, the company downplayed or omitted key risks in public communications, emphasized scientific uncertainties, and pushed for more fossil fuels. Shell is suing Greenpeace, £1.7 million damages, the loss in profits from a peaceful protest in 2023. And Shell wants Greenpeace to remove important evidence from their legal defence, namely that Shell knew that fossil fuels drive climate change, which in turn ruins people's lives. I come to the end of my section reflection today on the atrocities that Shell has inflicted on the world, and I just wish to express my thanks to Extinction Rebellion Scotland for the opportunity to be here and to speak out against the greedy, immoral and dangerous exploits of Shell that are taking us to climate breakdown. I was affirmed again by Antonio Guterres when he said recently, we must directly confront those in the fossil fuel industry, and here I include Shell, who have shown relentless zeal for obstructing progress over decades. Shell has spent billions of dollars distorting the truth, deceiving the public and sowing doubt. He also went on to say, I thank the academics and the activists, the journalists and the whistleblowers who have exposed those tactics, often at great personal and professional risk. You are on the right side of history, he said. You speak for the majority. Keep it up. Don't lose courage. Don't lose hope. It is we, the peoples, versus the polluters and profiteers. Together we can win, but it's time for leaders to decide whose side they're on. Tomorrow it will be too late. Now is the time to mobilize. Now is the time to act. Now is the time to deliver. This is our moment of truth.
It's just to say we're having to move the van up, which is obviously going to block the public seeing you guys, which is why you are here. If you would kindly stand on the pavement, it would allow us to keep the road clear. Okay, thank you.
As has been shown and has just been stated by my colleague, Shell has an extensive record of serious corporate misconduct, and it has sought to counter the inevitable reputational damage arising from its actions by greenwashing, promoting notionally environmental initiatives that ultimately do not stand up to close scrutiny. The following are just some examples of the recent disingenuous behaviour typical of Shell in its relentless drive to maximise profits at the expense of people and planet. So,
A top greenwashing strategy of Shell, according to our experts, is getting its way into top universities. Oily uni influence is a big business for companies like Shell. Imperial College London has taken more than £67 million in funding from fossil fuel giants since 2016, including huge amounts from Shell. This money is part of a cosy relationship. For the past 10 years, an advisory board for its chemical engineering department has included a Shell senior director called Edward Daniels. Daniels recently left Shell after more than 2 decades, during which time he helped defend the company's reputation, where Shell's position could be controversial, according to his LinkedIn profile. That's a lovely way to put it. Daniels took up the role at ICL in 2013. The same year that he personally lobbied government officials to help protect the company's oil interests in the Niger Delta, despite its terrible environmental and human rights record. More recently, he has spoken in support of the controversial undeveloped Campbell oil field off the coast of the Shetland Islands, despite warnings from the International Energy Agency that no new oil fields should be approved if the world is going to meet its climate targets. Analysis suggests Shell and a number of companies wholly or partly, a number of companies it wholly or partly owns, have between them given more money to British universities than any other fossil fuel company since 2016 to 2017, amounting to at least £54 million. In some cases, officials for the oil giant have even been invited to take teaching positions. These include Wayne Tucker, who has lectured students at Edinburgh's Heriot-Watt University since 2020 on a course the university says will prepare students for a career in the traditional oil and gas sector, among others. Shell has given more than £2.1 million to the university since 2016. In 2021, Tucker was invited by the University of Manchester to speak at a climate event. The University of Manchester has accepted at least £1.6 million from Shell in recent years. This is dirty money talking, and oil money talks very dirtily. Okay. Top Shell consultant Caroline Dennett dramatically posted her resignation as an open letter, not mincing her words. After a decade with Shell, Caroline Dennett, fed up with it all, in 2022 loudly quit her job over the company's inaction on climate change. The company does not value human life or any other form of life on the planet, Dennett told the Des Moines Climate newsletter. It only cares about drilling and making money. Dennett claimed Shell had a disregard for climate change risks and urged others in the oil and gas industry to walk away while there was still time. The executive, who works for the independent agency Cloud, ended her working relationship with Shell in an open letter to its CEO and 1,400 employees. In an accompanying video, she said she had quit because of Shell's double talk on climate. She accused Shell of operating beyond the design limits of our planetary systems and of not putting environmental safety before production. Shell was a major client of Dennett's business, which specialises in evaluating safety procedures in high-risk industries, including oil and gas production. Among other quotes from this courageous woman, Shell's stated ambition is to do no harm, goal zero they call it, and it sounds honourable, but they are completely failing on it. They know that continued oil and gas extraction causes extreme harms to our climate, to our environment and to people. Whatever they say, Shell is simply not winding down on fossil fuels. Dennett said that I can no longer work for a company that ignores all the alarms and dismisses the risks of climate change and ecological collapse. Because contrary to Shell's public expressions around net zero, they are not winding down on oil and gas, but in fact planning to explore and extract much more. She acknowledged that she was privileged to be able to walk away, and many people working in fossil fuel companies are not so lucky. She urged Shell's executives to look in the mirror and ask themselves if they really believe their vision for more oil and gas extraction secures a safe future for humanity. I need to see what it is. Okay. False advertising. Shell was reported to the Advertising Standards Agency in 2023 for adverts that misled, giving an overall impression that low carbon energy comprised a significant proportion of the energy products Shell invested in and sold in the UK in 2022 or were likely to do so in the near future. However, the ASA upheld the complaint against this and the ads had to be withdrawn. Shell has been rapped for greenwashing in the past. In 2021, the Netherlands advertising watchdog urged Shell to stop running a campaign promoting fuel purchases as carbon neutral, providing that customers purchase offsets. Shell has been described by US journalist Molly Taft as a fox in a hen house, and its presence at clean tech events has been described by Melissa Aronchik, a professor of journalism and media at Rutgers University, as a Trojan horse of legitimacy when it shows up at green events with an agenda to legitimise planetary suicide. This greenwashing should not be allowed, and it should not be allowed to fool you. Next. Gamer fuel is another strategy that has been used by Shell. The main player here, teaming up with the computer game Fortnite and other top online platforms, gamers and influencers are paid to play the Shell Road Trip game, in which they fill up their cars with new Shell V-Power Nitro. So, Fortnite is really called into question here. We are calling out Shell for partnering with popular video gamers and online youth influencers to promote fossil fuels to a younger generation. How cynical can a corporate get? Shell has worked with Fortnite's creators and paid popular gamers on multiple platforms to showcase its ultimate road trips promotion, part of a marketing campaign for its new fuel. According to Media Matters Group, the company is targeting young players on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, encouraging them to fill up virtual vehicles at interactive Shell petrol stations and posting screenshots of the game with the hashtag Shell Road Trips. Shell sponsored live streams of gameplay on Twitch by at least 6 streamers with a combined 5.5 million followers. The Media Matters Group also identified more content creators on other platforms who have been paid to promote this campaign in their videos. Those influencers, Media Matters said, have a combined 1.5 million Instagram followers, 8.5 million followers on TikTok, and 11.6 million viewers on YouTube. A single paid promotion post by a YouTube presenter with the username Chica has a potential reach of 1.74 million people alone. The director of Media Matters Climate and Energy Programme writes that big oil puts profits over people and the planet, even though it has known for decades that the product it sells is driving the climate crisis. Its target demographic with this campaign is those who are most concerned and most likely to be impacted by the climate crisis. That brings us to carbon credits, which has been a scam from the get-go, the whole offsetting and carbon credit business. Shell has been involved in a controversy involving the registration of so-called phantom carbon credits. These credits tied to CO2 removal were reported to be double counted. Thanks to an agreement in 2008 with the provincial government of Alberta, Canada, Shell has been able to sell 2-ton carbon credits for every single tonne of CO2 it effectively extracts. Correspondence obtained under Freedom of Information rules includes a letter written from Shell in February 2009 to the Alberta government asking for multiple credits to be assigned for each tonne captured. They had asked for a 3-to-1 ratio, but were ultimately granted the current 2-for-1 ratio as an additional subsidy, which has netted the firm 200 million Canadian dollars for selling carbon credits that were never actually earned. In any case, the International Energy Agency has formally concluded that carbon credits and offsets cannot be considered core solutions, and that only a phase down of production can address the climate crisis. No surprises there. Next in Shell's list of shameful greenwashing strategies, green oil jobs. A new Onward, a company startup owned by Shell, offers, yes, green oil jobs. Green jobs for the future that turn out to be oil and gas jobs when you look at them. Despite an abundance of green imagery and language, much of the platform appears to focus on improving oil and gas outcomes. The site's project section is a short-term job board posting dozens of jobs in oil and gas exploration. Of the 5 projects with available descriptions, all but one are explicitly for oil and gas production, while many more of the archived jobs on the platform also appear to be for oil and gas. One posting asks for applicants to conduct a coherent petroleum system assessment. Another looks for candidates to understand subsurface fluid resource estimates along the US Gulf Coast. Another advertises a position to map reservoirs using seismic analysis in the Nile Delta. All jobs and activities linked to traditional oil and gas production. Projects like this allow Shell to pretend it's helping to find solutions instead of merely accelerating the climate crisis. Well, I think that's a pretty shameful indictment of Shell's dissembling about its role and its relentlessly driving profits before people and planet. I'm going to ask my colleague here to say something now.
I didn't expect to see you here.
No, I'm not alone.
Very good. Okay. Yes, it's my privilege to talk today after such great speeches who've really made very clear the extreme mendacity, really, of the
Shell.
The Shell Oil Company. in that sense, the situation is even worse than I thought it was. And why am I here? I'm a retired history teacher. Young people have been the centre of my life all my professional career, and I'm appalled by the world that my former students are having to confront now in the year 2024 and moving forward in an even more extreme way. It is a world that this company, Shell, and others are turning into a hell on earth by their mendacity and their, what I would call, evil practices. It arises out of a bleak, I would say fascist, fossil fuel network of oil and gas companies like Shell, financiers and their friends in government and media. It is a hell on earth that they are systematically creating in front of our very eyes if we open them wide enough to see what's going on. It involves trashing the climate, our ecological systems, and our institutions. It involves a wealthy global elite determined to enslave us all to satisfy their greed for power and money at the expense of people and the planet. Shell, as a party to this destruction, must be called to account. Maybe it's time to write Shell a hard-hitting letter before more happens. And as we've already seen, they've been taken to court on many, many occasions and found guilty of the most terrible actions. Dear Sir, I might start this letter. After the lost decade of the 1980s, are you now willing to accept your role in the oncoming climate and ecological catastrophe that we face on a global level? And on a local level, your role in the murder of the Ogoni 9 in Nigeria on the 10th of November 1995, which has already been explained earlier today. These brave people, Ken Saro-Wiwa and others of the Ogoni people, were caught in a collusion between Shell, this company here, and the Nigerian military. They were defending their homeland from desecration. And they and their people were met with torture, rape and pillage by you, Shell, and your enforcers. Since then, you have continued to lie and obfuscate not only about the murders, the torture, the rape and the pillage, but also about your contribution to our heating climate by continuing to extract fossil fuels as you are. Indeed, the American Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez has said how they, meaning you, Shell, secretly knew the entire time that the fossil fuel emissions would destroy our planet. Unquote. Therefore, isn't it time we called you to account? We called Shell to account. Isn't it time we called you to account for your complicity in all these and the other lies that we have heard this morning? Lies which include your claim to write off your Russian assets when Ukraine was invaded, even though you stand to gain $1 billion for the sale of your stake in the Sakhalin-2 project in the Middle East to the Russian gas company Novatek. And that's just one, obviously, small example. But your lies and devious greenwashing has a history, doesn't it? Sadly, we have come to expect this behaviour from you, Shell, and your oily brothers. You spend millions on public relations and the appearance of things, rather than putting right the ugly reality, the lives wrecked and devastated, and the land polluted and desecrated. And we've heard today all about the Niger Delta and the terrible things that happened there and are still happening and still need to be put right. Millions are spent on lobbying your friends in government and the media and in education, as we've heard, so you can more easily make massive profits in the short term while persuading governments to clamp down on justifiable protest by passing harsh, undemocratic laws. Indeed, aren't you, Shell, directly conspiring against the public good? When you try to deny the evidence against you, it becomes a conspiracy. And when you victimise whistleblowers, isn't that just, or rather unjust, intimidation? But of course, you've been doing this for decades. As early as 1982, your oily brother Exxon was predicting that heading off global warming due to fossil fuel carbon emissions would, and I quote, require major reductions in fossil fuel combustion, and that delay would be dangerous, unquote. And you, Shell, knew this too. You knew by the late 1980s that carbon dioxide levels could double as early as 2030, and that this, amongst many other things, would lead to increased runoff, destructive floods, and the inundation of low-lying farmland. And we've seen already, in this country, in Britain, farmland devastated by floods, which is going to affect crops, which is going to affect food prices, which is feeding into the cost of living crisis. And that's just in Britain. Other countries are even worse affected. Indeed, your own experts at Shell noted how, as a result of all of this, climate and environmental changes would be significant. And in fact, these changes may be the greatest in recorded history. The greatest in recorded history, that is, unless action is taken. And tragically, these fears and predictions appear to be coming true. And isn't it true that lying and deception have serious consequences? It may seem to be very clever in the short term, making short-term profits, but it's not wise. And this is certainly the true in your case, Shell, Exxon and all the others who choose to ignore all these warnings for short-term financial gain. Just like the tobacco industry before you, you put profit before people. But now it's profit before people and planet, which is costing us the earth. As Bill McGibbon concludes, we'd be on the way to a solution by now, quote, unquote, if only they, that's you, Shell, and others, had put life and life on Earth first, rather than last, in your calculations of profit and loss. Instead, of course, you put the short-term survival of a few rich profit streams ahead of the profit to be gained from longer term and more sustainable investment in renewables, which are cheaper to produce and more sustainable in the long run. The cost is, of course, not just to nature and our climate and our environment, but we are now also seeing the cost to our institutions. We see today the emergence of an unholy alliance, a nexus of greedy fossil fuel companies like Shell, like this one here, rapacious banks and financiers, and fascistic governing elites, all dazzled by the opportunity for their own private gain at the expense of everybody else. Ordinary working people, like you working in this bank, you executives, ordinary working people thus face a bleak future unless this massive oily tanker is turned around and its polluting ways stopped, and a just transition for oil workers is put into place. This is our letter to you, Shell, which we sign off with yours to say sustainably, etc., etc. So now we have a choice to make, don't we? We can either choose life on a sustainable planet where we may not only survive but thrive long term and avoid this Shell-driven hell on earth, or we can choose short-term survival at any cost, leading to civilizational collapse, widespread death and destruction, and maybe even extinction. Well, civilizational collapse we're already seeing around us, I think, the beginnings of it, and widespread death and destruction also. We can either choose democracy and freedom and our long-term well-being, where all may thrive, perhaps even the moderately greedy, or a new fascist totalitarianism, where the greedy few make a misery of the lives of everyone else who are left to struggle in a fight for survival. And finally, and I think in a way this is the most crucial thing of all, yes, and we have to transition from it. And that's why we're having to do it. Yes, exactly. Well, I'm sure. But you, look, Bishop, in 50 years' time, you'll be thanking me for this. Yeah, well, you'll be dead, but your children won't. Exactly. I'm 72. Yes. There are alternatives. So finally, we can either choose to live in a society based on justice, integrity and goodwill, where all feel safe and can thrive, or survive in a civic ghettos subject to arbitrary laws, predation and bad faith, where cynicism is the name of the game these days. Very clever to be cynical, but not wise. Mockery, you mock your enemies. Intimidation, these need to be replaced by honesty, kindness and cooperation. Without kindness, honesty and cooperation, and not greed and excess, we will have a very difficult future. So personally, and I think all of you would agree with me, I vote for honesty, kindness and cooperation rather than cynicism, mockery and intimidation. Thank you.
Sorry.
Shame on you, Shell. Shame on 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 Shell. Sorry? That's it. I think so, yes, I think that's it.
You switch them off.
Oh yes, this is good. This is the end of the broadcast.
You want to say goodbye to that?
Well, yeah, thank you for listening. And thank you for all your support, everyone who is listening. And we need more and more support. We need to make this into an increasingly global uprising against this very serious situation we're in. Okay, good luck, everybody.